More than 1 billion visits to the official websites of the American Department of War. Trump says that this topic is #1 in trending. It nicely shifted the focus from some other even more serious matters. But we live in such a society that hooks us like a fish on the bait with every new viral news, and it chases after sensations. And it's not really good that such a topic is used to manipulate the public and divert attention. But it is what it is. The genie is out of the bottle, and in 2 waves so far, they have unloaded a considerable number of UFO videos. And today, we will talk about and analyze, personally for me, one of the best videos published so far. And that is this video. I know that for some of you, this might not look particularly special, but the more you watch today's video and the more I watched what appears in this video, the more interesting things became. I was even too mild here, and you know that almost never in my videos, except maybe in the title of the topic, which is understandable to attract attention, like some kind of marketing. I don't shoot sensational slogans in the video itself, because I always remain calm, no matter how crazy these topics are. But this video is, let's put it this way, this video is a bomb, because I exhausted every possible explanation, and came to a conclusion. This is the real deal, and probably the best evidence that has come out so far, and as far as I can see, a lot more stuff is coming. But even before all this, who among you has already forgotten what Donald Trump said in the very introduction? Welcome to the Global UFO channel. Today we will do something I haven't done for a long time, meaning we will take one video, just one video, and we will focus exclusively on this video, which I personally consider to be one of the 3 best videos that have come out from those 2 rounds of Pentagon releases. But before all this, let's briefly touch on the latest statements of Donald Trump, because new rounds are surely coming, and they say that the video material will be getting better and better. We'll see about that when it comes out. But Trump just here in this statement said something that somehow goes under everyone's radar, and the statement is incredible.
Releasing a lot of information having to do with terrestrial things, and people are totally fascinated by it. It's amazing. I wasn't sure they would enjoy it.
We upload a lot of information about extraterrestrial things. He didn't say UFO. He didn't mention unknown crafts. He didn't say some unknown phenomenon. He said extraterrestrial things. This is once again, de facto, an unofficial acknowledgement without fanfare. Either Trump is rambling like he usually rambles every day and shouldn't be taken seriously, or he is deliberately dancing on the very edge of the idea of some official acknowledgement, which we discussed in much more detail in my previous video, and I told you in the last video that I am 99.9% sure that by the end of his term, Trump will come out with such an official statement. And all of this seems to me somehow like testing the waters and testing the public and observing people's reactions. It is obvious that Donald Trump has been following these things, that it is very important to him, and even on his right sits Secretary Rubio, who even reacted to his mention of extraterrestrial things, the man who appeared in that documentary, Age of Disclosure. All of this reminds me of the expression in English, the so-called slow-burning process, or in translation, smoldering. Something is cooking, and something is smoldering, and the smoke is getting bigger and bigger. But nothing. We are waiting for the next releases, and possibly the first little fire. So we'll see. And until then, let's watch this famous video that I singled out today for all of you, and, in my opinion, the definitive and ultimate proof that exotic technology definitely exists. We may not know exactly whose it is yet, but without a doubt, it exists 100%. Along with today's video, there are at least 5 more UFO videos that are worth attention. For example, this object that was filmed somewhere in the Middle East, this spherical object with instantaneous acceleration. Then, let's say, this object that was likely filmed somewhere above the mountains of Afghanistan that performs a maneuver as if landing and hiding in the shady canyon, and the so-called La Bruja en Hilo. That is the video that Jeremy Corbell published before the original release. I will insert this video into one of those future videos when I generally talk about the so-called phenomenon called La Bruja, and that video will go under this title. La Bruja, this is the Spanish term for witch, and it refers to special types of phenomena that are quite frequently recorded in Central and South America, but in the world of ufology, it is also called the UFO jellyfish. There are a lot of recordings of this mysterious phenomenon. This is one of the rare examples that comes from military sources. And this phenomenon also at one point shows that instant acceleration, and it seems to do it from a standstill. All of these are very interesting videos for real connoisseurs and truly dedicated researchers, but in my opinion, they are too abstract. Some of these videos don't show enough controversy if you ask me, because we have a spherical object that obviously flies, accelerates suddenly, but the entire video is unclear. Without any details, and yes, this is really somehow an anomaly, but nothing I would say, man, have you seen this thing? One of the few videos that left this kind of effect on me is this video. At first glance, as I have already said, nothing special. Again, a thermal black and white image. But unlike some other videos, here you have a full show lasting almost 5 minutes, where several objects appear doing things that seem impossible. The only description and main information the Pentagon provided for this video is this text, and I quote it. Aero assessed that this video was recorded, and the title was set by the user. And the title reads, Multiple Spherical UAPs and USOs Near a Submarine in Shallow Water, March 25th, 2022. Aero believes that this video was probably filmed with an infrared sensor on an American military platform. The user uploaded this video to a classified network in May 2024. Let's set up that first and main scene that you generally watch. The American military, probably unmanned system, is filming a submarine on the open sea, and from quite a long distance, because what you are watching is already a zoomed-in video from this military system. It is unknown what type and whose submarine it is. According to my research, it is a smaller, non-nuclear submarine, meaning a diesel submarine, most likely of Russian production and NATO designation and class Kilo. The problem is that we do not know if it is Russian, because this type of submarine exists in some other countries such as China, India, Vietnam, Algeria, but also Iran, and I have found several comments and some analyses from military experts who say that this could even be an Iranian submarine. But for today's video, this is not even that important. It would be nice to know exactly where it was filmed, and whose submarines these are. But the Americans have not released this information. And what is much more important is to know what is actually tracking. We can certainly say that it is monitoring this submarine. And the video starts with the operator, who is tracking the submarine from a great distance. And soon, here, right in this lower left corner, there will appear, so to speak, the first suspicious object. And here it is. It appears right here, from the left side. And from this distance, it looks like a spherical, bright object. Otherwise, at such distances, it is impossible to identify this. It could be a balloon carried by the wind, perhaps a bird, who knows? Because this object is not performing any exotic maneuvers for now, but it still seems that it was interesting for the operator of this military system, who decided to track it manually. So there is no automatic tracker. Instead, he literally follows it with a joystick using the camera. And here I will often pause and slow down the video to point out the main activities for all those who have smaller screens. Because right now at this very moment, another one appears. Let's call it a sphere for now. A sphere coming from the lower right corner. And my warm recommendation is to watch today's video on screens larger than a mobile phone, because I'm not sure how much you will be able to see on these small screens. But on my 32-inch monitor, it's as clear as day. But if you are not able to, we will point out the most important details. So this second sphere appears. And here you can notice a pause in the operator, who for a moment is unsure which object to follow. And it briefly starts following this right-hand sphere, but then very quickly returns to this new one that has just appeared. Here several times it additionally zooms in on the object itself and then returns to the default view without zoom. So you can see the kind of distances of many kilometers we're talking about. So for all those who might think, well, this is a bad camera, everything is blurry. Tracking a spherical object that is 1 to 2 meters in diameter at such distances is a huge deal. And here the operators probably want to get a wider view and a broader context, and see if there are other objects in other locations, a bit farther from the submarine. Then it returns to a full shot of this submarine. And now, the real show begins, and why this video is truly incredible. Again, a spherical object appears from the right side, flying toward the submersible, coming very close to the submarine itself. But this time, it literally flies into the water surface, plunging and skimming above the surface without slowing down. And it looks like it cuts through the waves, straight at the surface. This is the first real wow moment in the video. It is very difficult to determine the speed, but it is certainly 100 to 200 plus kilometers per hour, and the first huge anomaly. Because what kind of thing can fly and dive into the sea in this way and at these speeds without losing velocity? Soon you will see much crazier things than this. And so far, according to some official materials, the only other video in the history of ufology is that video from Puerto Rico. And that is from 2013, where the diving of that unknown object into the sea, splitting into two parts at seemingly unchanged speed, could also be clearly seen. Well, this today is far better. Here this object touches the sea surface and every few dozen meters its trace is lost. And here the operator also experiences the first problems with tracking, because of course he loses focus. But right here you will see the first so-called WTF moment. Yes, such a moment. Watch this. And I will pause and rewind this video back and forth so it is clearly visible to everyone. This object emerges, seemingly jumps out of the water, flies in an arc, and dives into the sea again. It jumps out again and changes direction, then dives again and changes direction drastically and at enormous speed, and then appears here. So look at the gap between the last dive and the new appearance. And after this, it soon dives again. And at this moment, the operator completely loses this object. And now comes the craziest part. Look at how many there are now. We have 3 new spherical objects that seem to be slowly chilling above the surface of the sea, barely moving. And here now comes the moment when there is absolutely no doubt. At the very top, pay attention to this part of the video. Another one jumps out among all these other visible objects. It makes a short leap back into the sea. Then at 90 degrees, moves downward at enormous speed, just into the surface of the sea. And then dives again at enormous speed. I would say at 45 degrees. And this happens at the moment when the operator moves the focus of the scene. Watch these incredible maneuvers that so far, at least as far as official video materials are concerned, have never been seen. And it is precisely because of maneuvers like these that this video is really incredible to me. And here, just before the very end of the video, we have another very interesting scene. You can notice another object slowly exiting the frame from the bottom, and that at a very low speed. And here the whole process is accelerated so that you don't watch a full and entire minute of very slow movement. And exactly at the moment when this object disappears from the video circle, another one appears. The last object that appears in this video. The operator follows it for some time as the object dives and emerges, then gives up and returns focus to the submarine itself. And here the video ends soon. If you watch this video on a larger screen, I think you could see all the anomalies that appear in the video. And here I will be crystal clear. This is indisputable proof of the USO and UFO phenomenon in a single video. A USO is an unidentified submerged object. UFO, so you all know what a UFO is. These are the same objects that are called differently depending on the context of the media in which they are found, that is air, water, or space. And never, absolutely never before, have we even come close to seeing any similar video with such a number of unidentified phenomena performing such transmedium maneuvers. Never. This is the first evidence of this kind. I do not explain these videos, because you really won't believe how debunkers and those bad skeptics try to explain this simply because they don't like it. I am, by the way, a huge skeptic, but of an agnostic approach. I go in the direction that the evidence leads me, whether I personally like it or not. I go in that direction. And you would not believe how many comments I even found. I would even say there are organized and paid bots on forums, Reddits, and other groups and social networks claiming that this is birds. Their balloons flew out the window as the main explanation, because only a crazy person, of course, could think it was about balloons. But birds or flying fish? Yes, you heard that right. Flying fish. And birds that jump in and out of the sea are the latest viral trend. I really don't know if any of these people have ever watched a single documentary about sea creatures or birds. Yes, birds can really fly and catch fish in this way. Some birds can even dive. But let someone find me a bird that can, without changing speed, cut through the surface of the sea, dive at the same speed, and then shoot out of the water at several hundred kilometers per hour and continue flying as if nothing happened, all in one piece. The same applies to drones. Yes, there are drones that can fly and dive, But then they have to land in the sea in one place. They have to submerge, and only then can they dive steadily. But these are ridiculous speeds, and this is a really long process. I don't even want to comment on flying fish, but some people seriously discuss such theories. When we unload all of this through the window as possible explanations, which are really ridiculous, what do we have left in the end? I have described it so many times, and that in stories they do not explain the phenomenon. And be careful here that there is no confusion. I am not claiming here that these are extraterrestrial beings, that they are somehow extraterrestrial spacecraft. I simply don't know. I really don't know whose things these are. Maybe it's some kind of advanced human secret technologies, but I will always ask that same question again. If it's human, where do they get such things? What you have just seen is a partial demonstration and a visual demonstration of such stories. In the world of ufology, this is the maximum as far as a story about aliens can go in terms of the story itself, witnesses and different kinds of evidence. And the so-called Nimitz incident of 2004, as far as classical investigative ufology is concerned, has nothing better than this. And for the very end, isn't it at least a little strange that this very new tour, and according to stories, the most shocking tour, is scheduled exactly for June 12th, when the world premiere of Steven Spielberg's latest film is also happening. In his newest and final trailer, he even decided to show what this is about. Very interesting timing. As I've already said, slow burning or smoldering. And until another video, you are on the Global UFO channel, a place where the truth sometimes sounds stranger than fiction.